Hey everyone, how you doing? This is a QuickBooks tutorial. I am your host Andrew, and today I'm going to be guiding you through hidden transactions with a vendor. I have another video that I just did uploaded about how to merge vendors, and I kind of rambled on a little bit about how sometimes transactions have a vendor name associated with them, but they don't show up in your transactions pane, your transactions panel, in the vendor information in your vendor center, excuse me. So I wanted to make a follow-up video because that was kind of confusing, and I just wanted to show you what I was talking about. If you haven't watched that video, I recommend you check it out. It's just called Merge a Vendor. But let's jump into it for this video. So I have one vendor in this example, and that's Walmart, and I've got two transactions going on. I've got a credit card charge and a check. And if I try to delete this vendor, for whatever reason I don't want this vendor anymore, it's going to say, hey, you've got a problem. You can't delete the vendor because it's got some transactions associated with it. So I say, okay, let me deal with the transactions and then I'll come back. Now, before in the other video I talked about making general journal entries and deposits. And I've figured out that making deposits actually doesn't do what I was talking about. So you might have a situation where you have a general journal entry with the name of a vendor, but that transaction is not showing up in your transactions pane, even if you have all transactions, all, and all selected. So if you've got all transactions filtered by all from all dates, it still won't show up here. And I'm going to show you what I mean. So I'm going to do this kind of quickly, so don't try to follow along, just watch. So let's just say I have a purchase from Walmart, and for whatever reason I didn't write a check. I have a general journal entry, and I code that in as Walmart. Okay, and I bought it from US Bank Checking, and I'm going to say Walmart. Okay, save and close, get out of there. Now, so I just made that general journal entry, and that is now showing in my transaction list, which is great. I want it to be there. So if I come up here to delete this vendor, I know that I have to go to this general journal and delete that general journal, or change the name to fix it. But let me show you something. Now, if I go back and I remove the name from the, I believe this is just the top, the first row here. So if I remove the name from the first row in this general journal entry, it's not going to show up in my transaction list. So I'm going to save and close, and look at that. Now it's disappeared. I don't have a transaction in my transaction list. So I could delete both of these other transactions, which I will do right now. So I'm going to delete this credit card charge, and then I'm going to delete this check. Boom. Okay, so I see, okay, I've got nothing going on here. I got no balance. I'm going to try to delete this vendor. Uh-oh, I get this message. It says, problem, QuickBooks cannot delete this name because it has a balance used in at least one transaction. You say, that's bull, because there's nothing happening in my transaction window. This is where it becomes a true pain in the butt if you've got more than one transaction, or more than a handful. If you've got 50, 100 transactions, like the journal entry I have, then I suggest, if you want to delete this vendor, I really suggest making it inactive and trying to go and find all of those transactions, much less change them. Now, if you've got maybe 15 and you do want to try to change them, I recommend going to the using the search function, which is done by hitting F3. So I can just search for Walmart. Oh wow, I won't even find that. Huh, that's crazy. Where am I here? Wow. Journals. It won't, huh, I can't believe that. So I just did a search, F3 for Walmart, to see if I could find that general journal entry, because I'll show you, we know we have a transaction in there. We know we have the name. Walmart is sitting right here. It's just not in that first line. So I went to F3 and I did a search for Walmart, enter, and no results. Imagine that. Let's see here. Let's see if I put it on the first line and then do my search, if it will come up with it. That's crazy. Huh. Interesting. Anyway, well, okay, so ignore that. Don't search for it. I guess search will not help you. You'll have to go through each of the registers or go through each of the journal entries to see if you can find where the name might be. I thought it was at first it had something to do with an expense account, but that's not the case either, because if I just say I have another expense account here, just real quick, look at that. So we've isolated the problem to be not the type of account that is used in this general journal. So I thought it might have been, okay, well, this is an asset account, it's a checking account, it's a bank account. So if I even if I enter a name here in the name column, it's not going to be pulled through to the vendor center. That won't come back to our transaction list in the vendor center just because it's the type of account. But I did a test to make sure that that was right by putting in the same expense account as my top row and then entering a name, and you can see that it didn't come through my transaction list. So QuickBooks only takes the name that is in the first row, which is quite annoying, but it's tricky. So I've got to have that name in the first row if I want it to flow through to my vendor center. Here it is right there. So now, because it's there, now I can pull it open and I can delete this transaction, and then I can go back and I can delete my vendor. And it says, okay, we can do that now. There's no warning. You remember the other box was different. Now this dialog box says, are you sure you want to do this? I say, okay. The vendor is gone because we've deleted all the transactions. So something to be careful of. A lot of times people get tripped up by that. They say, hey, I've got no transactions here. What's going on? A couple things you can do. You can, if you've got a few transactions you think with this vendor, you can try to comb through and find them where they might be. They would be in general journal entries. Or you can merge the vendor with another vendor, or you can make that vendor inactive and just kind of put it out of sight, out of mind. So anyway, that's a follow up to the other video. Let me know if you've got questions, comments, feedback. If you've got an issue with QuickBooks that you might think I can help you with, I'd love to hear from you, and I will happily do a video for you with your issue. So ask questions, fire away, let me know, send me an email, and that's it for today. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.